Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss American Trading Corporation. Happy New Year to all of you tuning in, and Happy New Year to you, Chris. Chris Agelastos, my co-host. Welcome back to the show. Thanks for being here today. Hopefully you had a great New Year's and are off with a bang for this new year. I know we're already
Yeah,
a week into it, so.
yeah, it was a nice break. But now it's freezing all of a sudden here in Arizona. It was 44 degrees coming in to the office this morning.
Well, there are going to be a lot of people who are not in Arizona who are going to think that's ridiculous, but
Yeah, the high is
it is
still going to be
cold.
68, so it's not brutal, but you know.
Well, for those of you tuning in, in fairness, the desert cold is I'm originally born in Milwaukee from the Midwest, so I'm familiar with cold, but the desert cold definitely has a little bit of a bite to it, in fairness to
Yeah,
Chris.
thank
Anyway,
you.
all right, well, let's get running here. Here, we're going to start off the episode here today talking about gold prices. And the predictions that are coming in for gold prices are pretty healthy. The year 2025, this year, they are suggesting, at least in this article, and there's been several others saying the same, that we're going to see gold prices of $3,000 an ounce. That's
Yeah.
pretty impressive and a pretty bold prediction at that. But if you remember, and for those of you who've been tuned in, watching our podcast for a while, when we were this same spot a year ago, we had gold prices resting at roughly, I want to say it's about 1,900 an ounce, give or take.
Yeah.
And we saw gold prices finish the year up, at that $2,600 price range. So we had a great year last year. And, there $3,000, especially where we sit today, Chris, at 2,600. I think that's a pretty conservative estimate, to put it mildly. So
Yeah.
what do you think? What do you see? Is this first off? Is this author correct? And then secondly, may he even be undershooting his estimate here?
Yeah, I think it's quite conservative. Again, especially if I don't know, everybody watching this, probably doesn't follow the prices like we do, but you're right. When a year or so ago we were in that $1,900, $2,000 range, now being in the 26 to 2,700 range already is a pretty good amount of growth. So to go from 26, 2,700 to 3,000, pretty conservative. The last several years, investors have been basically flocking to gold to diversify, and get some of their money into a safe haven. Obviously, inflation has been a concern, and it's still a concern. So really, this next little jump to 3,000, I think it's more of a psychological barrier for a lot of people, just because again, even a few years back, if we were talking about $3,000 gold, people would think we were nuts, that we were legitimately crazy or just trying to sell them on a pipe dream. And here we are again, approaching 2,700. So there's really a long way for gold to go to catch up with how much the dollar has been devalued over the last
Sure.
several years. So there's definitely room for it. Interest rates are seemingly done climbing for the time being, and that was a little bit of a headwind, a little bit of a block for gold prices. So yeah, I would say 3,000 is easy peasy, as I like to tell my kids. And we'll probably see 32, 3,300. I mean, nothing like that in that range would shock me.
Right. Well, what I find interesting too with a lot of these projections that are coming out and predictions, there's a lot of optimism right now in terms of the political shift, meaning President-elect taking over for
Hmm.
Biden. In fact, they've been talking about this on CNBC, and we talked about this on
Yeah.
our show too. How probably more than I've ever seen, there's so much activity surrounding Trump, what he's going to do, and the media and the markets are just chewing it all up. And he
Yeah.
obviously hasn't taken office yet. Bottom line, though, is that what is interesting with a lot of these commentaries or articles that we've been looking at and covering, even they're embracing all the positivity of what Trump is bringing to the table, what they believe he'll bring to the table, but yet still also saying metals are going to thrive during this administration.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of momentum building, and again, even with forward looking at some of these changes, they're still saying very, very optimistic things for metals prices. And on that note, let's look at our second article. CC will put it up in a second. And silver. Let's talk silver. Now, when exactly will silver hit $50 an ounce? They're saying this is the year for it. And we saw some really good gains over the course of the last year, and silver, this has become a common theme where people are looking more and more towards that $50 an ounce silver, which, compared to today's level of, $30 an ounce, it really will not take much for it to get to that $50 an ounce in terms of some of the fundamentals that are in play, which let me let you talk about that, Chris. Why are they saying silver is going to hit $50 an ounce?
Well, a couple of things that have happened. 28.80, let's just call it $29, is a pretty good floor price for silver. So we've seen some good growth in the last couple of years. I mean, I think just probably a year and a half ago or so, I remember buying some around $18 or so an ounce. So even to go from 18 to the 30 where we are today, it doesn't sound like a big number, like gold at 3,000, but that percentage wise, that's a big increase. I mean, that's over 50% growth, so well over. So
I'll take percentage over price any day, personally.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. As long as your pile is growing by that percentage, you're in good shape. So we've already seen good growth. We've tested the low 30 range, but we're so far refusing to dip below that $28, $29 mark. So that means we've got a real stable floor there. So sitting where we are today, a little over $30, give or take. They say the next jump is going to be closer to $35. $34.70 is what they talk about in here. So that's really what they're watching now, is let's make that jump to $35 in the next couple of months. And they think that once it hits that, going to $48 to $50, the charts support that. We've got a silver shortage, which we've talked about on here before, now going into 3 years in a row. We're pulling less out of the ground that we're using, or less than we are using or need to use. And that's obviously probably what's accounted for that jump from 18 to 30, like I talked about. And that's continuing to happen. So they're predicting by May of 25, so this coming May, that we could hit that $50 an ounce mark. But I would tell people, I think that's very possible based on the charting and everything here. But I would tell people, hey, what if it only hits 40? What if it goes from 30 to 40 by May, and maybe it takes till the end of the year to hit 50, right? Either way, you're going to be in good shape. So right. I think, getting some of your money diversified into gold and or silver just makes sense. There's really, for most people, I really don't see any negative to it.
I would agree. And so on that note, tell people how they do that, Chris. What do you need to do to get some gold and silver?
Yeah, give us a call to get started. 800-289-2646. That's 1-800-BUY-COIN, BUYCOIN. You can also text us. I know that's an easy way to reach out, to start a conversation. We'll get your contact info, send you out some of our reports talking about all of this. If you're new to it, we're very big on education. We can also just set an appointment. If you're the type of person that just wants to chat for 10 or 15 minutes and kind of understand some of the basics, we can do that as well. So I would certainly go to the website and or call, and we'll make sure to get you what you need.
And that website is www.swissamerica, SWISS America, all one word, .com. Well, thank you, Chris. Gold and silver. Let's get rolling here in 2025 and see what kind of year we have. And we've had a very strong last few years, and let's keep that momentum going. For those of you who are tuning in and watching our program, we thank you for that. If you've not subscribed, please do so. And please follow us on social media as well so we can keep in contact with you. Until next time, we will be bringing you some additional news on some changing other things or areas in the country and the economy. And we hope to have a great year and have you right along with us. So thanks, Chris. We'll hope to see you soon.
Yep. Take care.